What if I told you that the time you choose to work out could change how much fat your body burns, even if the workout stays exactly the same? Imagine doing the same 30-minute session, same exercises, same intensity, but in one version, you burn more fat. The big question is, should you eat before your workout or train on an empty stomach? Let's break this down in a simple, science-backed way. First, we need to understand what your body actually uses for energy. Your body mainly runs on two fuels, glucose, which comes from carbohydrates, and fat, which is stored energy. When you eat, especially carbs, your blood sugar rises. Your body releases insulin, a hormone that helps move that sugar into your cells for energy. When insulin is elevated, your body prefers to burn glucose instead of fat. Now think about what happens when you wake up in the morning and haven't eaten for 8 to 10 hours. Your insulin levels are low. Your glycogen stores, the stored form of carbohydrates, are partially depleted. In this state, your body is more likely to tap into stored fat for fuel. This is what people call fasted training. On the other hand, if you eat before your workout, maybe a banana, oats, or toast, your body now has fresh glucose available. That can improve your performance, especially in higher intensity workouts. But it may also shift your body toward burning more carbohydrates during the session. So which one actually burns more fat? Here's where things get interesting. Studies show that during a fasted workout, especially moderate intensity cardio, like walking, cycling, or light jogging, your body tends to burn a higher percentage of fat compared to a fed workout. That sounds great, right? More fat burned during the workout must mean more fat loss overall. But not so fast. Fat burning during the workout and fat loss over weeks or months are not the same thing. What truly matters for fat loss is your total energy balance over time, how many calories you burn versus how many calories you consume throughout the day and week. If you burn slightly more fat during a fasted session, but later feel hungrier and eat more, the advantage can disappear. In some cases, people unconsciously compensate by eating extra calories later in the day because their workout felt harder. Now let's talk about workout intensity. If you're doing low to moderate intensity cardio, like brisk walking for 30 minutes, fasted training may help your body rely more on fat as fuel. But if your workout is high intensity, like sprint intervals, heavy weightlifting, or intense HIIT, your body depends heavily on glycogen. In this case, eating before your workout may improve performance, strength, and total calorie burn. And performance matters. If eating beforehand allows you to lift heavier, run faster, or push harder, you may burn more total calories overall. And over time, that can contribute more to fat loss than simply increasing the percentage of fat used during one session. Let's also talk hormones. When you train fasted, levels of adrenaline and growth hormone tend to rise. These hormones can increase fat breakdown. That's one reason fasted cardio became popular in the fitness world. But again, fat breakdown doesn't automatically equal fat loss. Your body can break down fat during the workout and still store fat later if calorie intake is high. Another important factor is muscle. If your goal is fat loss, but you also want to preserve muscle, especially after 30 or 40, this becomes critical. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. The more muscle you maintain, the better your metabolism works long term. Training in a fasted state for long durations, especially with high intensity, may increase muscle protein breakdown if you're not consuming enough protein throughout the day. For some people, especially beginners or dieting aggressively, this could slightly increase the risk of losing lean mass. On the other hand, having some protein before your workout can support muscle repair and performance. Even something small like a protein shake or Greek yogurt can make a difference. Now let's make this practical. If your goal is maximum fat burning during the workout itself and you prefer morning cardio, fasted training may slightly increase oxidation. It can also feel convenient, no need to prepare food, just wake up and move. But if your goal is better performance, strength, and possibly greater total calorie burn, a light pre-workout may help you train harder and longer. There's also the psychological side. Some people feel lighter and more comfortable exercising on an empty stomach. Others feel dizzy, weak, or unfocused without food. Your personal response matters more than any headline or trend. Remember, consistency beats optimization. The difference between fasted and fed workouts is relatively small, compared to the impact of showing up 5 times per week instead of 2. Many studies comparing these two approaches over several weeks show similar fat loss results when total calories and protein intake are matched. That means the best option may simply be the one you can stick to long term. But we're not done yet, because there are certain situations where one method may clearly be better than the other, depending on your age, goals, and body type. Now let's go deeper and talk about real-life situations, because this is where the answer becomes more personal. If you're over 35 or 40, your metabolism naturally starts to slow down. Hormonal changes, especially lower growth hormone and testosterone, can make it easier to gain fat and harder to maintain muscle. In this stage of life, preserving lean muscle becomes just as important as burning fat. This is where fasted workouts can sometimes backfire, especially if they're intense and you're not eating enough protein throughout the day.
When your body is low on available energy and you push it hard, it doesn't just burn fat. It may also break down muscle tissue for fuel.
And here's the truth most people don't talk about. Losing muscle makes long-term fat loss harder. Muscle helps regulate blood sugar, supports metabolic rate, and improves insulin sensitivity. So if your strategy burns a little more fat during a workout, but costs you muscle over time, it's not a win. Now, let's look at insulin sensitivity. One interesting benefit of fasted training is that it may improve how sensitive your body is to insulin, especially if you're overweight or dealing with prediabetes. When you exercise in a low insulin state, your body becomes more efficient at using stored energy. For some people, this can improve metabolic flexibility, meaning your body can switch between burning carbs and fat more easily. But again, the effect depends on the person. If someone wakes up stressed, sleeps poorly, and then adds intense fasted cardio on top of that, cortisol, the stress hormone, may rise even higher. Chronically elevated cortisol can actually encourage fat storage around the belly area. So in high-stress individuals, fasted high-intensity training might not be ideal. Now, think about appetite control. Some people report that fasted workouts reduce their appetite throughout the day. Others experience the opposite, extreme hunger and cravings later on. Research shows this response varies widely between individuals. If fasted training causes you to overeat later, the small increase in fat oxidation during the workout won't matter. But if you feel stable and in control afterward, it could fit well into your routine. Let's talk about women specifically, because this is important. Women's hormones are more sensitive to energy availability. Very intense fasted training, especially combined with low-calorie dieting, can sometimes disrupt menstrual cycles or increase fatigue in some women. That doesn't mean women should never train fasted. It simply means balance matters. Moderate intensity fasted walks or light cardio may be fine, but very aggressive fasted HIIT every day may not be ideal. Now, let's consider strength training. If your goal is building muscle while losing fat, what many people call body recomposition, eating before training can be beneficial. Resistance training relies heavily on glycogen. When glycogen stores are low, performance can drop. Even a small drop in performance repeated over weeks can mean fewer reps, less weight lifted, and slower progress. And progress builds metabolism. The more muscle you build or preserve, the more calories you burn even at rest. That's why many experts recommend at least a small protein-rich snack before strength training, not a heavy meal, just enough to support performance. But what about morning workouts when you don't feel hungry? Here's a balanced option. You could consume something light and easy to digest, maybe a scoop of protein in water or a small piece of fruit with a little protein. This gives your body amino acids to protect muscle without feeling heavy. Now, let's look at the science over weeks and months. Multiple studies comparing fasted versus fed cardio over several weeks show that when calories and protein intake are equal, fat loss is very similar between groups. The body is smart, it adjusts. If you burn more fat during a fasted session, you may burn slightly more carbs later. If you burn more carbs during a fed workout, you may burn more fat later. Over time, it balances out. What truly drives fat loss is total daily calorie balance, adequate protein intake, progressive training, sleep quality, stress management. Fasted versus fed is a smaller variable in comparison. Now, let's address a common myth. Fasted cardio melts belly fat. Spot reduction doesn't work. Your body decides where to lose fat based on genetics and hormones. Exercising on an empty stomach does not target abdominal fat specifically. Consistent overall fat loss is what reduces belly fat. However, if fasted morning walks help you stay consistent, reduce cravings, and maintain a calorie deficit, then indirectly, yes, they can help reduce belly fat over time. The key is matching the method to your lifestyle. If you train early and don't have time to eat, fasted workouts are fine, especially moderate intensity sessions. If you train hard, lift heavy, or struggle with energy levels, a small pre-workout meal may improve results. And here's something powerful to remember. Fat loss is not just about what happens during the workout. It's about what happens in the other 23 hours of your day. If fasted training leaves you tired, irritable, and less active afterward, your total daily calorie burn may actually decrease. But if eating beforehand gives you energy to move more throughout the day, that can increase your overall fat loss. So the real question becomes, which approach helps you perform better, recover better, and stay consistent? Because consistency beats perfection every time. So here's the honest, science-backed answer to the big question. Fasted workout or fed workout? Which burns more fat? Fasted workouts may burn a slightly higher percentage of fat during the session itself. Your insulin is lower, glycogen is reduced, and your body taps into stored fat more easily. On paper, that sounds like the clear winner.
But fat loss doesn't happen in a single workout. It happens over weeks and months. When total calories, protein intake, and training volume are controlled, research consistently shows that overall fat loss is very similar between fasted and fed training. The body adapts. It balances fuel usage across the day. What truly determines your results is your overall calorie balance, muscle preservation, workout quality, sleep, and stress levels. If fasted workouts feel good to you, if they're convenient, help you stay consistent, and don't cause overeating later, they can absolutely be part of an effective fat loss plan. If eating before training gives you more strength, better endurance, and higher performance, especially during weight training or high-intensity sessions, that may lead to greater total calorie burn and better muscle retention over time. There is no magic switch. There is only strategy. For low to moderate intensity cardio, like walking or light cycling, fasted training can work well. For heavy lifting, intense intervals, or muscle-building phases, a small pre-workout meal, especially with protein, may be the smarter choice. And if you're over 35 or 40, preserving muscle should be a priority. That may mean being more careful with long, intense fasted sessions and making sure your protein intake is solid throughout the day. The most powerful truth is this: the best workout strategy is the one you can repeat consistently without burning out, overeating, or losing muscle. Optimization is small. Consistency is everything. So instead of asking which burns more fat, maybe the better question is, which approach helps me train hard, recover well, and stay consistent for the next 6 months? Because that's where real fat loss happens.